Good evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Amazonas in, as you can barely see, Venezuela. Amazonas, Venezuela, which, if you can imagine the shape of Venezuela, there's like the northern coast and then a big chunk at the bottom. And that whole chunk is the state of Amazonas. Now, to the surprise of nobody, pretty much the entirety of this state is made up of the Amazon rainforest. The jungle is very, very thick, very humid and wet, teeming with wildlife. If you've been watching my channel all this past week, literally 7 days of content all about the Amazon, this is the last day, so you've heard me say that a lot. That the Amazon is very thick and humid, full of life, and very, very beautiful. You can see that there's lots of land set aside by the government of Venezuela to protect, which is wonderful, especially since this state is teeming with indigenous peoples and cultures. It's pretty much majority indigenous peoples living here. Not a lot of like Spanish descended Venezuelans. It's mostly indigenous Venezuelans. But there's one thing quite different about this area of the Amazon from all the rest of the other regions of the Amazon that we talked about in Brazil and Colombia. You can see the top part here, and Peru over there. One thing that the other regions might have, but I didn't come across in my research, is that this region has a lot of very interesting tepuis. Now, what is a tepui? There's some very, very famous tepuis in this area of Brazil and Guyana, but there's quite a few buried deep in the rainforest here in Venezuela. A tepui is a type of mountain that is flat on the top, perfectly flat. In North America, we call them mesas, but in my opinion, mesas are kind of more associated with the desert, like very barren landscape, whereas tepuis are covered in rainforest. The most famous being Mount Roraima, which is just over there. And it inspired the novel The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Since no one had been to the top of Mount Roraima, he theorized that there were dinosaurs up there. So, remind me, please, later in this video, that we need to look at the various tepuis, especially some right up here. Now, what's also interesting about this region of the Amazon that's different from the ones we talked about in Brazil, Colombia, and Peru is that this region does not have the Amazon River located in any part of it. It is much farther south. But it does have part of the Rio Negro, which makes up this border here, which is the largest tributary of the Amazon. But it is mainly home to many other tributaries you can see on the border here, all throughout, that flow into the Amazon. The most famous river in Venezuela is the Orinoco River, which makes up this border here. It flows up to the Atlantic Ocean, the biggest, mightiest river in Venezuela. It comes right along there, the Orinoco River. Yes, like the Enya song. About it. You can see pretty much all of the major areas are along the Orinoco, including the capital, Puerto Ayacucho. And that's because it connects directly up to Caracas and all of the major centers of Venezuela. It was really hard to find actual history about this region. I only found little tidbits here and there and kind of pieced it together. But pretty much Nothing's happened here. In a nutshell, it's just the jungle. It's just indigenous cultures trying to live peacefully for the most part. It wasn't even settled by Europeans until the mid 1600s when various missionaries came down the various rivers to build missions to convert the indigenous peoples to Christianity. Some were successful, some were not. Nothing really happened here until Venezuela became Venezuela, which took a while because after independence, Venezuela was part of Gran Colombia, attempted to make like a United States of South America in a way, but that collapsed. Venezuela became independent, and they created the territory of Amazonas in 1856. It became a little more official in 1864 when the capital city was established, not here, but here at San Fernando de Atabapo. And it was, it was along the river here, so it was very important. But it became more important during the rubber boom. I was reading a story about how one of the rubber barons essentially took over the town in the 1930s, and he enslaved a lot of indigenous people to work on his rubber plantations. And it got to the point where the people had had enough of this tyrant that the Venezuelan military came in and, took him out publicly in the town square, and everyone celebrated. Not the legacy you want to leave behind, right? Money is not worth it. If an entire town celebrates the fact that the military was called in to deal with you, you're not a good person. You need to reevaluate things. Think about your life real quick. Are you the kind of person that the military needs to be called in to deal with and everyone will celebrate you? Hopefully you're not. But the capital was moved up to Puerto Ayacucho not long after it was established, the year 1928. I think it was established so it could become the capital. That way people don't have to sail up this chunk of the river to get to Caracas. It's a lot faster and kind of nearest to the border and more civilization, I suppose. Interestingly enough, I thought, is it named after the Battle of Ayacucho? And it certainly is. Which confused me at first because the Battle of Ayacucho was fought in Peru, and we're nowhere near Peru. I mean, we're kind of near Peru, but not by a long shot. It would take you a long time to get there from here. The Battle of Ayacucho is important not just to Peru, but the entirety of South America, because it was the last great battle against the peoples that lived here, the criollos, people of European descent who wanted independence, and from Spain, the last big battle. That's, spoiler alert, Spain lost. So they named the city after that battle. And pretty much that's all I found. The state was officially created in 1992, and not much happens here. It seems that the priority is tourism, preserving indigenous cultures and lifestyles, and preserving the beautiful Amazon rainforest. Keeping it protected, which is very important. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to have to rearrange things a little bit here on my desk because I'm at a weird angle. Let me get the tablet out, and then let me move my camera down. It might squeak. Oh, thankfully it didn't. Oh dear, I'm way too zoomed in. Oh dear. Let's go like that. Okay, sorry for the crookedness. Nobody's ever complained about the crookedness of my tablets or maps or any videos, but they bother me a little bit. Thank you for not complaining. So let me zoom out. You can see, or not, the borders are not forming here for the countries, which is fun. But there's Venezuela. I wonder why. I know it's contentious with Guyana, but it's not even popping up. Oh, Google Earth. But yes, it's this huge big chunk of Venezuela down here. And as you can see, it's all lush, beautiful green rainforest. Let's start down here in the south over at the Neblina Mountain, Serrania la Neblina. I know it as Pico Neblina because Pico de Neblina is the Portuguese name. But there's the mountain. Let's look at the actual mountain, Cerro de la Neblina, they call it in Spanish. Really, really pretty area. There it is. But this is the national park named after it. Gorgeous plants here, my goodness. That's Pico de Neblina. Big pointy guy. We go over here. Let's see this one. You can see a little village there along the river. What the Amazon looks like from above. Beautiful. That kind of looks like a tepui right there. Tourists there enjoying the experience. So yeah, it's a lot of tourism activities. Look, this whole village came out for the picture. A lot of activities. Look at this guy in the canoe, having a great time. I had a hard time finding history because everything you find out about it is tourist things, which is fun. But I kind of wanted to know how this place came to be. A tapir, so cute, having a little swim. All right, let's find a tepui. I think this is the biggest one. Look, you can see it from above here, sticking up. Let's see if we can go 3D. It's not that great. Yeah, they're kind of easy to spot from above. This is the Duida, what was it? Duida. Okay, well, that's the only picture. That's no good. Marahuaca National Park. Cerro Marahuaca. Here we go. Tepuis. Big flat-topped guys. Ooh, I don't know what that is. Here's Duida. There we go. Cerro Duida. Look at that. Complete flat top. All covered in clouds there. I've said this every time tepuis have come up in my channel, especially during trivia, but National Geographic has a great documentary called The Last Tepui, which is about, surprise, the last tepui that had never been climbed. And they climbed it to find new species living up at the top of them. How cool is that? What's this one? Yapacana. More incredible mountain peaks here. Oh, that's pretty. Not so much the destroyed landscape here, but it looks like there's some kind of civilization happening there. Or maybe some mining. Building something there. Beautiful mountain, though. Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful sky. So yeah, this must be another one. You can always spot them from above. Tepuis. I wonder what language that word comes from. It's definitely not Spanish. But yeah. I think there's some more over here. But yeah. Nothing popping up for us, mostly because there's probably nothing there. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness, I hate when it does that. Let's take a look at San Fernando de Atapapo. You can see it's where the Orinoco meets this river, the Rio Guaviare, over in Colombia. And there's a cool little confluence here where you can see the two rivers, which are two different temperatures, different sediments and things, meeting up together. Let's find a good picture. There we go. Oh, a little couple standing on both sides. It's similar to what we saw in Manaus when we were exploring Amazonas, Brazil, not Peru. There we go. Look how incredible that is from above. You can even see it here on Google Earth. Look at that. See them meshing together like that. Let's see if there's anything I wanted to show you in town. I'm not sure. It's a very tiny town now. Not much happening here anymore. Yeah, I think that's about it. Equipo local at the Papo. Oh, there's no pictures at the museum. That's too bad. But I like how it's on like this big peninsula. It reminds me of San Francisco. But also nothing like San Francisco. A cool big island here, but it looks like it's all jungle. That's also really neat. Let's head up to the capital for the end of our little slideshow. I tried looking at all these little sites alongside the river, and there's either not a lot of pictures or no pictures or just nothing terribly interesting. Oh, here's another mountain. There's no pictures, just someone at the top. That's what I'm talking about. We've passed it for sure. Google Earth, why are you doing this to me today? Why is nothing popping up like it's supposed to? My goodness. Okay, well, I guess we have to find the city. You can see lots of towns here in the area that's cleared. Just want to make sure that we don't, leave the state. I think we did. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Puerto Ayacucho. Now I tried combing through the city here to try to find neat things to show you. Not much. If we look at Mirador Montebello, scenic spot here. You can see the beautiful river. Some cool rocks, really cool rocks. And some old centers. Some trinkets. I think someone's trying to sell some jewelry there. But this slideshow is really good. You can see the I Love Amazonas, Puerto Ayacucho sign there, this big roundabout. I think there's a picture, yeah. I was reading things to do in Puerto Ayacucho, and number one was this spot where the river kind of runs and makes a little pool and you can go swimming in it. Really neat lake here. I didn't write down its name, but it's like very black from above. How neat is that? And I wonder, that looks like a volcanic plug, but the Amazon isn't really a volcanic place like at all, so it might be just a natural mountain formation there. How beautiful. Go swimming in the river. There's the scenic view. Some really colorful boats there. Looks like transporting something. This is an oil country in Venezuela, so I wonder what's in those oil tanks. Yep, it's a big day here at the swimming spot. I bet it gets very, very hot and humid there. Go kayaking down the river. A beautiful old church. Lots of fun. So yeah, I'm sure that there's more to see. I know I was playing out here in the rainforest a lot, finding little sites here and there, but for the most part, it's all just trees. Trees and trees and trees with millions of little, like just in this bit here, there's like 1 million creatures living here. Insects and animals and plants and all that in that little bit, right? I think there's more to see. They're just not popping up for me, and I wonder why that is. I wonder if maybe I had a blip with my Wi-Fi and now it's having trouble loading. I'm sure if I turned it off and on, it would work again, but you know what? That just means that you get to go play around Google Earth and explore the areas here. So, with that being said, I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational. And if you enjoyed this style of content, no pictures there, please consider subscribing. Sadly, this is the end of Amazon week. I hope you enjoyed it. Next, we're going to be heading over to Ethiopia, one of the most historically important regions of Ethiopia, with lots of cool sights to show you, including some of the most beautiful churches in the world. If you know, you know. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you have a very good